Hey guys, Haley Randall here. Welcome to my channel where I discuss a wide variety of fitness and powerlifting related topics. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel down below. Now, I would be lying if I told you this was not my third time trying to record this video. I'm really not sure what I'm doing wrong here, but the first time it didn't record at all, and the second time it was recording like the first 6 seconds of every video and then just not. So, I've never had this problem with my camera before, but here we go. Third time's the charm, I hope. The first thing I wanted to talk about is kind of touch on what made me decide to do this video. There was a couple different things. So the first was, if you guys follow me on Instagram at Haley2_Randall, you would have seen in my story yesterday that I've been struggling a bit with motivation. When I recorded this video earlier, it was pouring rain. Now it's snowing. The weather has been so unreal in beautiful Amherstburg, Ontario lately. There's been flooding. When it gets like this, I often struggle a bit with motivation, and I have all kinds of ideas for videos that I'd love to do, but I don't want to force myself to do them when my creative juices just aren't necessarily flowing and I don't feel motivated. So I wanted to do a video on something that I am super motivated to talk about, and that is the one that you're about to see. The second reason is I was going through some, old pictures on my old Facebook that I don't use anymore. And again, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen a picture that I posted of myself when I was 16 years old. And I kind of talked in the caption about where I was then, where I am now, and how those things have kind of, how my mindset has really shifted since then, and the amount of growth that I've gone through. So that again kind of like is what inspired this video. Now, I just want to say, like, this video is, so I'm going to be talking about, the 5 things that I wish that I had known when I was 16. And if you are a follower of mine who is, from that like 16 to 20 age range, I just want to say, like, you are my favorite followers. Like, I don't want to be biased, and I love all of you guys, but like the fact that people who are that age use me as someone to look to, who makes them feel good, who makes them feel happy, who somehow they're getting something from me, like that just, really hits me in the feels. So I just want to say, like, if any of you guys who are in that age range ever want to message me, I promise I will answer, and I would love to talk to you guys. But anyways, I'm going to get into the first thing that I wish that I had known when I was 16, and that is, don't wait to be happy. So what I mean by this is I have vivid memories of being that age, and going through this constant kind of like thought process, like constant cycle where it was like, once I'm skinny, then I'll be happy. Then I would achieve that, and then it would be, if I could get this certain type of guy, then I'll be happy. Then I would achieve that, and I still wouldn't be happy. And then, if I get XYZ grades, then I'll be happy. It would happen, still not happy. I think that this is just a way of thinking that a lot of people get caught up in. And once you learn to be happy in the moment, and that you're okay exactly at the spot that you're at right now, then it really changes things. So how I think now, and how I really have, consciously tried to make myself think, is I'm happy now. These are some goals that I'm working towards. Your happiness doesn't need to be tied in with accomplishing goals, because if it is, I personally hope that I'm always working towards goals throughout my entire life. And if that's going to be the case for me, then thinking that way would mean that I'm never going to be happy in my entire life, because there's always a new goal to reach towards. So now, I'm happy when I'm working towards goals. Working towards goals makes me happy even when I haven't necessarily achieved them. So that is the first thing that I wish that I had known when I was 16. The second thing that I wish that I had known when I was 16 is that you we don't owe anyone an explanation or a justification for the things that we enjoy doing. So for example, like when I was 16, I still liked reading some books that I guess were technically like below my age level. Even now, I love reading chick lit, like anything with like humor, romance, funny female lead characters. Like that is what I'm going to choose to read if I'm reading something for fun. And now I totally own it, because what I do in my spare time for fun is honestly my business and no one else's. Like same with whatever kind of shows you like to watch, whatever kind of movies you like to watch. I watch The Office over and over and over again in my spare time. I don't care. I watched Hannah Montana when I was 16. I was probably a little old for that show, technically, to most people. But I do what I want to do for fun in my spare time, and you should too. And you shouldn't feel like you owe anyone any kind of explanation for that, because you're doing something to make yourself happy, to make yourself less stressed, and to make yourself enjoy life. I remember having a teacher when I was 16 actually comment like, oh, you shouldn't be reading that, it's well below your reading level. Okay, I'm not reading it for school. I'm not reading it to complete an assignment. I'm just reading it for fun. So, and I really took that to heart at the time. I was like so humiliated and so ashamed of myself, because it's a teacher telling you this, so you think, you know, it must be true. But honestly, it's not. Like, whatever you want to do for fun, you do it for fun and you enjoy every second of it, and you do not need to explain it to anyone. But yeah, so. The third thing that I wish that I had known when I was 16 is that not everyone has to like you, and it's totally okay if some people don't like you. And I guess going off that is don't invest your time, energy, resources, all of those important things that are so limited and so rare. Don't invest them into trying to convince people to like you who don't, because those things are just so much better spent fostering the relationships you have with people who do already like you and who do, you know, appreciate who you are as a person. So it's kind of like you got to think about like, who's someone in your life who is a good person, who's a nice person, who for some reason you just don't click with and you just don't necessarily like them. And I'm sure someone pops into mind right away, because everybody has those people. So realize that you're going to be that person to others. It's just not everyone is meant to be super close friends with everyone. And I will say that when I learned to accept that, and particularly over the last 3 years of my life, is the time when I've managed to like make the absolute strongest connections of my life. You know, once I started putting my energy and resources into fostering relationships that came naturally on both ends, I made some of the best friendships of my life with people who really just, you know, we get each other, we love each other, we're so connected, but it took stopping wasting my resources elsewhere trying to convince everyone to like me, because I'm a people pleaser. So I did a lot of that to get there, and it is so worth it. The fourth thing, this is the only one where I'm like, honestly, like I want to go back in time and take little Haley and just kind of like whack her because all these other things, like, yeah, I wish I'd known them when I was 16, but learning them is part of like the growing up adult process. So, you know, I can't really blame her for not knowing these things back then. But this one, oh man, is save money while you can. So someone who is in a similar position to the one that I was in when I was 16, where I lived at home with my parents, I had no bills other than a cell phone bill. I was often working 2 to 3 part-time jobs. And I saved like no money, like none. Like my parents literally like forced me to save $50 a paycheck, which was like $100 a month. So I saved that by force. So thankfully I at least had that. But other than that, goose egg. And now 26-year-old Haley is like, man, I was making so much money for a kid that age. I could have like, you know, I probably could have like paid for my whole undergrad with no student loans, working way less, stressing way less if I had just save some money. So this is the one that I'm saying, like, even if you don't really want to, like, try to make this change, and your 10 years from now self will definitely thank you. Yeah. So the last thing that I wish that I had known when I was 16 is that strength is the most empowering thing that you will ever experience. And this doesn't necessarily have to relate to powerlifting. For me, obviously it does, because that was the best thing that ever happened to me. That was the huge game changer for me. It changed my life. But it can be anything. Like, just while you're young, like, I so wish I had started powerlifting when I was 16. I just can't even imagine, like, how different those formative years would have been for me if I had had an outlet like this. So while you're young, just try to find some sort of activity that's going to keep you healthy, and that while you're doing it, you just literally feel like the most badass woman to ever walk across the face of the planet. Like, you just feel like Wonder Woman when you're doing it. Whether you're great at it, or you're just okay at it, or you're terrible at it, if you feel like Wonder Woman when you're doing it, if you just feel so badass, like, do that activity. Like, it's so important. It will change how you see yourself. It will increase your self-confidence. It will honestly carry over into every other area of your life. So just try to find that as young as possible. Try all sorts of different things. Try things your friends like. Try things you see on YouTube. Try things you've never tried before, that no one you know has ever tried before. And when you find that thing, it'll just sort of click, and you'll just know, like, you just want to be doing it as often as possible. It makes you excited. It makes you passionate. It makes you confident. And then run with it. It's really the best thing that I ever did. Yeah. But anyways, guys, those are my 5 things that I wish that I had known when I was 16. I'm really hoping that this video actually recorded, since I actually managed to do it all in one shot, which is probably because it was my 3rd time trying to record it. So that's awesome. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it, especially my younger followers. I love you guys so much. Please shoot me a message or a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, that's all I really got to say today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!